Whether you're traveling on business or working late, safety should be your #1 priority. There's a new book out, Clear Boundaries, written by Christine Beckwith, and she's here with us today to tell us how to stay safe when we're on the road and when we're working late. Christine, welcome.
Thank you, Marcia, for having me. I'm so excited that Clear Boundaries is being featured by mPower.
It's such an important book. Tell me why you wrote it.
Sure. I've traveled for 17 years of my 30-year career, and I've encountered many dangerous situations. I had a coworker when I was 18 that was abducted and murdered. And so throughout my entire career, banking career, that was my first banking job on a teller line, I had in my head to stay safe, and I took safety classes, and those came into play and absolutely helped me stay safe. In taxis, walking in dark parking lots, all the scenarios that I could think of. And then I had an encounter last fall that motivated me to begin writing the safety book finally.
So what is the most common mistake we make?
I think that we let our guards down in social settings. This book is really geared for women to understand the role they play. This is written by men and women in the safety field, security guards, self-defense guys, but it's really written to women. What can you do as a woman that is going to make you protect yourself? Your cyber safety, it's never been written about. One of the things that there's not a lot of information out there is, what do men see when we put our images on social media? What responsibility do we have in that, in how our interaction is? So it's very state of the art, but it's written in a way that says, ladies, listen. Every encounter, and it has every encounter. It's got a lot of realtor safety because, of course, that's our field, real estate and finance, and it happens to also be one of the #1, unfortunately, places of murder and attacks statistically because of the private meeting setting.
So you have a lot of great tips in the book. I read the book. I told you I wrote you right afterwards to see if you would give us some of those safe tips. So Can you give me a few of the top tips you would recommend?
Sure. #1 is always be alert. I think that we have to be very cognitive of our surroundings. I entered an elevator last November, the event that happened to me. A gentleman entered the elevator, and I realized he hadn't pressed a button to the floor that he was going to, and I asked him what floor, and he said the same floor as you. Now, I could tell he had been drinking, and so that's an example that I thought maybe I was in a situation where I was in danger. And so I reacted. And the book will tell you that when you think you're in danger, you should anchor your safety by making a phone call to somebody. Because the moment the perpetrator believes there's a third party, even if it's virtually, you begin to put yourself in a safer place, whether you're in a taxi or any setting.
You're no longer alone.
You're no longer alone. And we actually studied convicts of violent crimes against women, and they said the #1 reason that abductions, violence was thwarted was that women made it seem like they would either be a problem, they would attack, they would be loud, or they would get caught. So if we throw away all the Hollywood knowledge that we have of women, you know, the drama of the woman getting abducted in a 2-hour movie and she gets saved by Brad Pitt at the end, the truth is, our #1 defense is to be loud and aggressive the moment an attack starts. In the first few minutes, that is likely to make the perpetrator think they're going to get caught and they'll stop.
Right. What can organizations do if you have women working late, and is there anything companies can do to make it more safe for employees working late?
I think every single company should have a safety policy, community awareness. Our company does, and we have a buddy system. So if we're leaving after hours, we're going to leave either with someone at the office that has set up a buddy system. We may move our vehicles. We suggest moving of vehicles if you know you're going to work late to a closer to the door destination, a well-lit area. We also teach you to carry your key in your finger like this. It's a self-defense, becomes a self-defense weapon, and how to use it. So I now walk that way whenever I'm in a dark parking lot or whatnot. So many, this is chock full, and it's an easy read. It's 110 pages. It's not fluff. It is end to end, as you know, with tips that are going to help your daughters, your wives, sisters, mothers, everyone, your professional, your employees, stay safe. And I'll just end by saying that during the writing of this book, at the very end, Colleen Brownell, who worked for Annie Mac, was murdered on December 30th, 2017, along with her sister. So if you can imagine the irony for me, that I always wanted to write a book, I'm finishing writing the book and this happens. So the book's dedicated to her. Part of the funds that we receive go into a trust in her name, and her cause is the Humane Society, so we donate to that as well. But it's a dangerous place out there.
It is. So ladies, I encourage you, get a copy of Clear Boundaries. It will be well worth it. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you for having me.